Alright guys, Kremp again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. More gentleman's agreement drama going down. This time, it's on the SMGs. It seems that Big AR is back in action. We saw the numbers yesterday. The top KDs in the game right now are basically all SMG players, and many of the ARs don't seem so happy about the situation. aBeZy reveals the pros are considering banning all the barrel attachments on the SMGs, especially on the jacket, of course, to try and balance the weapons a little bit better. Is this fair? Is this Big AR crying again? Very much into your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, just a couple of absolutely spectacular thumbnails on the Scrappy thing. I think it's nice that he's very much embraced all of these memes. The 6 in 19, the lowest damage in a single map in the history of the CDL, only player to ever drop under 1,000 damage in a respawn hardpoint mode. Very impressive stuff from Scrappy, but it's been nice that he's kind of stepped up to the plate here, right? Because he could have been pretty salty about it. He could have been roasting the fans of the community, which to be fair, he did. We saw that last night. But equally, he's been a pretty good sport about it. I think that's nice to see as well. And maybe is fitting to the Los Angeles Thieves mindset as well to some degree, because we know that Nadeshot has not been the happiest man about the way that Thieves have been playing, their approach to things. We know after they lost to the minor, Nadeshot was very clear as a fan of the team that he wasn't happy with the way that he felt like they were approaching their practice. He's saying they need to lock in and all this type of stuff. And then, of course, they come out next weekend and they lose to OpTic. But still, Nadeshot and the boys, they're sitting on the couch, they're talking about the games. So I think the environment over there at Thieves is good. Whether it'll be good enough to translate into victories of the season, whether the team is good enough against the might of FaZe look very strong right now. OpTic are always going to be very strong. They, of course, 5-1 comeback Thieves in the map 5 on that Hacienda a couple of days ago. And even this I thought was pretty good, echoing the iconic, what is it, the Tony Snell meme or whatever, when it's like 0, whatever, down the left-hand side. 0 assists, 0 hill time. I don't think either of those are technically true. He definitely got some hill time. I think he maybe got some assists as well, but they had to put 0 or something. 0 assists, 0 hill time, 6 kills, 19 deaths, 7,000 or 750 damage, 10 miles ran, and Scrump's like, hang on a second, I had like a minute in the hardpoint, put that on there instead. But yeah, this is definitely a meme for the ages. Speaking of Scrappy, there were some very funny tweets that people were finding up last night from way back in the day. This is 2016. Like, Scrappy was, I mean, we're talking like a decade ago. Scrappy is not a veteran of the scene now by any means. So this is when Scrappy was very young indeed, and he says when the next ground COD comes out, Simp is going to be absolutely screwed. So this was around about the time where Simp was really making a name for himself. This, of course, during the Black Ops 3 season. And Simp, of course, was absolutely cooking in, you know, online tournaments, local tournaments, whatever. But, of course, this was before he was actually in the league. Is funny to think about in hindsight, the fact that when Boots on the Ground did return and Simp actually made it into the league for Black Ops 4, he was like the best player in the game immediately. So, you know, maybe didn't age so well. I know that, I imagine Scrappy was replying to people here, but you can't see the tweets he was replying to anymore because it's a long time ago. This one I thought was pretty funny as well for this boomy guy. You know, Scrappy, shut up. Scrappy says, hop off. And there's a few more comments as well. So fast forward to the present day, people found this up and thoughts on this early. And Simp says the local days were vicious, right? This was when Simp was just absolutely dominating all of these local tournaments. There was also this that people found from 2018. When Scrappy, for whatever reason, was refusing to play against Shotzzy. So, yeah, this is one, as he says, basically, I'm not playing against Shotzzy. So it seems like certain players had, like, and even at the bottom, he says, anyone but Shotzzy. Like a blacklist against certain players. I don't know whether Scrappy thought that Shotzzy was, like, dodgy or something. But then again, he literally won the Halo World Championship that year. So, for whatever reason, Scrappy, a couple of years ago, 2018, a very long time ago now, it doesn't feel like long ago, but technically it is, was like, I'm never playing Shotzzy in a chalice. This is not going to happen. Does sound a bit like he's pretty scared of him, but I don't blame him, actually, because you do want to play Shotzzy back in those days anyway. He just won the Halo World Championship, I think, and then, of course, it was Black Ops 4 coming around the next season where Shotzzy started to make a name for himself in chals, and then the year after, he was in the league on Dallas Empire. The rest is history since then. This, I thought, was pretty interesting back and forth as well between Hicksy and just the situation with the pros. We always talk about this, don't we? The pros' schedule and what time they're getting up, what they're doing during the day, ordering DoorDash in the evening, playing scrims in the afternoon. And I think Zinni was taking the mick out of this mindset a little bit, right? Because basically what Hicksy's saying is, and I kind of get his perspective, that if you're going to go to the gym in the morning, you know, caffeinate up to hit the gym or whatever, and then come back before you start work, then, okay, maybe that's more difficult than going after it. So I do get it. But equally, I'm sure there's lots of you out there listening who you start work at 8 or 9 a.m, you're up at 6 in the morning, hitting the gym, then going to work. Like, whereas Hicksy's day starts at 11. So, and maybe they get there early, do some VOD review, whatever. But, look, it's not impossible. It's just for a COD Pro. And to be fair, the schedule the COD Pros have, the scrimmers run kind of late, 8 are late at night, tournaments are late at night. I kind of get it, why an early rise isn't really feasible for some COD Pros, just based on the schedule of other players. It's not like going to bed at 10 p.m, getting up at 6 a.m. is feasible for COD Pros, really. So I do understand it, but equally, Methods is like, damn, guys playing COD from Vancouver and it's moaning about scrim starting at 11. That'd be my read on it anyway. But let's talk about some of the GAs that may continue to come into effect. There's been new guns dropping to the game. The PPSH is one of them. Legendary weapon, of course, from the World War II season. Okay, the PPSH, in some form or another, has been around for some time. Honestly, one of my favorite ever SMGs in World War II. I thought it's so satisfying to use the hit marker sounds, the way the recoil was. Like, if you ever ripped somebody off a heady from long range with the PPSH controlling the recoil and got a headshot, that was one of the best feelings in COD history, in my opinion. So the headshots out of that game was spectacular as well. Anyway, the PPSH is back here in Black Ops 6, but almost certainly will be GA'd by the pros. The pros almost always do this. Whether it's fair or not is another question, but almost always the Sorg, of course, came back. They GA'd that one immediately. So yeah, and the Sorg isn't even that strong, I don't think. It's good, but compared to the JACL, is it the best gun? No, but the pros banned it anyway. Just the type of thing that they tend to do. So I don't think the PPSH is coming anywhere near pro play. It's going to be the JACL, it's going to be the AIMS, the AR that we currently have in play. However, will that change to some degree? Because there has been talk over the last few days, we even talked about it yesterday, to be fair, on the stats in the game. So I guess I'll just bring them up again real quick now. I did just want to quickly shout out on the Breaking Point site, we've got a map GeoGuessr of the BO6 maps, such as this screenshot here. Which map is this on? Oh, that's zoomed in a bit too far. This may be Protocol, I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, you guys can feel free to mess around with that. But if we go to stats again, as we did yesterday, and if we go to player KDs and leaderboards, we'll find that basically all the top KDs are SMG players in the game right now. And we said yesterday, maybe that's fine, maybe it's not. In my opinion, the weapons are actually quite balanced. The problem is that, if it's even a problem in your opinion, the movement and the map design is such that the SMG are favoured, even if by pure statistics, the AR and the SMG that the pros have decided to use this year, the JACL and the AIMS, after banning so many other ARs, are actually, you know, maybe quite balanced, but just given the context of the maps and everything like that, then the SMGs have pretty much dominated. Dashy is kind of, you know, pretty much the highest placed AR here, 1.15. Cellium, Scrappy, Sasha, like these type of players, Beans. No one's got 1.2s or whatever. I mean, if you look back at some of the stats from the World War II season, I mean, maybe I'll try and find them real quick. Okay, you guys can just about see this. This is respawn KD in the World War II season. The entire season, by the way, these are the numbers. Methods, 1.23. Slasher, 1.21. Dashy, 1.20. Octane, 1.18. Formal. Assault. Arcetes. Dens, Crimsix, Waskin, Parasite, Rated, Gunless. We finally have a flex player down in P13 here. I guess Crimsix as well did use an SMG sometimes. Crim was actually incredibly good and underrated at World War II, in my opinion, just a kind of aside. But like, these were the names, right? And it was just all ARs until you got down to, I mean, Shocks, I guess, as well, from Mindfreak was an SMG mostly. Huke was here as well, although it wasn't really Huke's best game. And then even Kenny. So Kenny was the best SMG in the game that year by some margin, I think. He had a 1.07 over the season. He was the 19th highest KD in the game. Everyone else, I mean, even Scump, like, okay, it wasn't Scump's best game, but Scump was, I mean, where even is Scump? Have I missed him? Probably missed him areas. 1.05. One of the best SMGs ever. Scump's at a 1.05. The ARs were dominating, right? And, you know, that's just how the game played. It wasn't like the PPSH was that much worse than the other guns, in my opinion. I thought the guns were actually pretty balanced, but the movement favoured ARs. There wasn't any crazy movement. You could not slide. You could dolphin dive, basically. But it was all about positioning, really, and the maps were head glitch versus head glitch, and the PPSH was great, but the AR, it was just a game that favoured the ARs. This game is a game that favours the SMGs, and you look a few years later, and, you know, we see the numbers today, where it's pretty much, so far anyway, all SMGs dominating the leaderboards. So, In World War II, did they do anything to the meta? Well, they kind of did. I mean, they got rid of the long barrel on the bar. That's one change they made. But apart from that, they left it as it was. And the ARs were pretty happy about that. And they were telling the SMGs, look, we're meant to have better KDs than you. We're the ones, you know, setting up in positions, holding the lanes. That's how it's meant to be. And maybe nowadays they'll make the same argument. But the point still becomes that in the modern day, the SMGs are dominating and the AR players aren't particularly happy about it. So this is what has been rumoured. And aBeZy said on stream, it seems, yesterday, that they are trying out the sub, the JACL, with no barrel attachments on it. This is something the pros tend to do if they want to make a gun weaker. Instead of doing the other things or whatever they could do, they'll say, all right, no barrel attachments allowed, which will make the gun weaker, and the SMGs may not be happy about it. Is this the worst idea ever? I don't necessarily think so, but it is nonetheless controversial because, as I say, back in World War II, it was like, oh, well, the ARs are better, the ARs are dominating the leaderboards, but that's fine, that's how it is, and a good SMG can still have good numbers. Whereas in this game, it's more like it takes a good AR to have good numbers with the way that things currently look, and maybe that is absolutely perfectly fine. But I do think that there are some teams out there whose SMGs maybe have been looking strong, but their ARs have been looking weaker, and they're down for some sort of a change. I'm just thinking Cloud9 on paper. Whenever we discuss GAs and gentlemen's agreements, my concern on it, even if, in my opinion, this isn't the worst thing to try on paper, my concern is the only reason why it's being discussed is because some teams, their ARs are getting clapped and they want the subs to be weaker. Like, you know, Cloud9, hypothetically, their SMGs have been good. Kremp and Mack, absolutely. But Attach and Simp have been having a very hard time. Would those guys be in favour? I'm just speculating here, but on paper, would those guys be in favour of making the SMG weaker to give themselves a better chance? Maybe would help out their team? Possibly. I don't know. But this is always the thing with GAs, that whatever you think about whether this is a good or a bad idea for the balance of the game, and there's some debate to be had on that, it almost always will be happening because teams are biased in their own favour. Like, this is not necessarily being proposed because it's the best thing for the game. It's being proposed, I would suggest, because some teams want it to be proposed and want it to happen so that they can potentially be better in the meta. If their SMGs and their ARs were cooking in this setup, like, a FaZe is going to be in favour of this. Unlikely, as far as I'm concerned. Drazah and Cellium are looking perfectly fine right now in this current meta, and Simp and aBeZy, you have no troubles at all with the SMG as good as it is. So, look, it's just speculation on my part, but again, it just, to me, it comes down to some degree of bias from the pro players, and I do wonder whether people were joking about this. Priestahh dropped like a generational map on Ravens on the Vault Hardpoint, 45 in 20 in, honestly, not even that many minutes. That game was 250 to like 109. If that game was a bang out, Priestahh would have dropped 60. Like, this guy was going crazy. But, you know, he had that monster map. Doug was retweeting it, and then they want to nerf the JACL. Wow, what a massive surprise. But, you know, intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Yo, what? Yo! Oh, not fucking shit. No way. That's insane, bro.
I'm actually crying. What? Yo, Andrew was like, yo.
Bro. What the fuck is that? I win that, bro. No, you 100% win that.
Oh my god, that was...
I'm actually not playing unless it's 2-2. I'm like, nah, bro. I win that, bro. Like,
yeah, I'm actually crying.